Weston here, reporting on Tech Tuesday, where you have all the tech news. Now, here on Tech Tuesday, I aspire to educate our student body about the current events in the tech world. Recently, the biggest thing going on has been the whole game stonks debacle. As I'm sure many of you may not quite understand the whole situation, I will dedicate this Tech Tuesday to explaining it all the best I can. So, it starts with why this is happening. Many businesses have been losing value due to the effects of COVID. Investors, not inherently bad, still try to make a profit off the market regardless of its condition. Short selling is an investment strategy better known as shorting. Shorting is whenever an investment company or a hedge fund, which is simply a group of investors, believe that the price of a stock will go down. So they sell their stock, wait for the price to go down, then buy the stock at a lower price, getting more than they started with. The issue is that they typically don't have any stock to sell in the beginning. So what do? They go to someone who already has the stock. For example, you have two investors, Bob and Joe. Joe has 100 shares of Starbucks worth $100. Bob doesn't have any shares, but he knows that recently a lot of people have been getting Keurigs, and less people have been getting Starbucks. So he knows that the price of Starbucks will go down. So Bob approaches Joe on Monday and makes a deal. He asks Joe if he can borrow his 100 shares for 1 week and says that he will give him back 105 shares on Friday. Joe agrees because he will gain 5 shares, although he does nothing. They make the deal. Bob now has 100 shares of Starbucks worth $1 a share. He immediately sells all 100 shares on Monday, then waits and watches the price of Starbucks. On Thursday, the price went down just as Bob thought. It is now 90 cents a share, so he spends all $100 buying as many shares as he can and gets about 110 shares. On Friday, Bob gives Joe back his 100 shares, plus an extra 5, just as they agreed, fulfilling the contract. There are an extra 5 shares, though, and Bob gets to keep those shares for himself. That is his profit. Now, imagine this on the scale of thousands of shares at a time, each worth hundreds of dollars, and you do this many times a month. This is how both Bob and Joe are very wealthy, and this is how stock investors make profit even when the market is going down. Now, let's tie this back to what is happening with GameStop. COVID has impacted GameStop hard. They have been closing hundreds of stores and laying off thousands of employees. It is clear that GameStop is on a downward trend, but these investors are simply just trying to make a profit. Obviously, this is the time to be shorting GameStop. But here's the thing about shorting. The more shorts there are, the lower the price goes on its own. And the faster the price goes down, the more you can profit off of each short. There is a fixed supply of shares for each company, so when all the investors start selling their shares because they think the price will go down, the supply of the shares goes up, which further drives the price down. So the investors can profit more on their shorts the more that the price goes down. All of this is fine. All of the practices and strategies I've talked about up to this point are perfectly legal ways to take part in the stock market. But now we'll talk about why GameStop has been such an issue. Although not confirmed, it was pointed out in the subreddit Wall Street Bets that it seems like many of these hedge funds have been naked short selling. That is when they borrow more shares than are actually available to borrow, and this creates false shares and therefore artificially increases the supply. They then sell this stock, wait for the price to drop, then buy it all back. Now, they don't get to keep any of the artificial shares, but this still drives the price of the overall stock down even more so, leading to greater gains on their actual shorts. This is highly illegal, and so the members of Wall Street Bets decided to do something about it. They started buying. That's it. They simply started buying as many GameStop shares as they could get. This not only caused the demand to rise, but also caused the supply to drop, pumping the price. This is bad for the hedge funds, as they had in their bets that the share would go down, yet it did the opposite. So, for example, if Bob borrowed Joe's 100 shares of Starbucks for $1 each, and then the price actually went up to $2 each, he would be contractually bound to get Joe back his 105 shares as agreed. So, Bob would have to buy 105 shares for $210 and would clearly just lose money. But in the case of GameStop, the price per share went from $6 a share to a peak of $300 a share plus some. This is clearly really bad for the billionaire hedge funds, but also is clearly really great for the normal people that picked up the stock at a low price before it went up. These hedge funds are now required to buy the shares at whatever price is available, yet publicity of the whole situation only caused the demand to rise even higher. And with how the system works, the hedge funds will not only have to fulfill their contracts, but also the contracts of the naked shares they purchased as well. So I will be done here because this Tech Tuesday is already going to be getting kind of long. But this truly is an important thing going on right now. And it is already likely to go into the history books of the future depending on how far the situation escalates. Personally though, I did jump in myself. And as of this last Friday, I profited about $15. I purchased AMC, which is in a very similar stake to GameStop, but obviously not quite as near as volatile. So if you do want to try to do your part, feel free, but just beware. To everyone watching, I am not a financial advisor. Any market decisions you make are you and yours alone, not mine. Thank you.